All right. Episode 1. Welcome, everyone, to the Killbox podcast. I have talked about this with a handful of people for like the last 4 months now.
Yeah.
And so it was a labor of love to get to this point. But we're stoked to be here. So for those that don't know, my name's Greg. This is my good friend Daniel, who I'm honored to have co-hosting this endeavor with me. So
yeah, thanks.
I'm pumped.
Thanks for having me be here. I've known Greg since you were 14.
Yeah, it's been 20 years.
20 years.
We've been hanging 20 years. Daniel was my youth pastor.
Yeah.
Back when I was a hoodlum, raising all kinds of cane all over the place, dude. Daniel used to catch me with chewing tobacco. He's caught me smoking behind the youth group building.
Yep.
I don't know if he ever caught me drinking beers as a youngster, but
I don't think I did.
He knew, I'm sure, it was going on. So
yeah, I mean, I guess, but I mean, I just loved you. I thought you were awesome.
It worked out. So
it did work out.
And now we live in the same city. We work together. I'm honored to just be here working for Daniel and then working together on this project. So it's been really good.
Yeah.
Stoked.
Yeah. So one quick anecdote about the Killbox. When Greg first told me the idea, so all of this, the concept came from Greg. I'm sure we'll cover it a little bit, but when he first shared it with me, I was just so excited because I think, well, I want to be involved in something like this. 2, I think we need more. I think there's not anything exactly quite like the Killbox that I've ever heard of. So if there is something out there like it, it's not super accessible, like you can't find it. But I think we need, if there are more, then we need more of them, you know?
Sure.
So
Agreed.
I've had a lot of great relationships through the men that have joined Killbox. It's not like a men's group per se, but we have a lot of guys involved and they're all rad guys. So I'm excited to kind of share with the world what we've been cooking up for the last 3 months and excited to watch it grow. Yeah,
it's going to be a fun journey.
Mm-hmm.
Even just to the point where we are, like you said, like it's not necessarily a men's group, but at least what we're doing here where we're located, it's kind of evolved into this new, and I don't even know if new is the right word necessarily, but you know, we've got a group of these really rad young dudes that all kind of resonated with the heartbeat behind what Killbox is for.
Yeah.
And so, you know, everyone's kind of rallied together and we've been pushing through this thing in unity, which has been awesome. And so, but I mean, to that point, I guess we can talk about where the idea Killbox and even the name of it and what it actually means comes from, which was a trip I went on a few months ago to Utah. And I'm part of a business coaching group. Shout out Alex Urban. Super rad group. Like the value I get out of it is rad. And he was doing, I believe it was his very first like in-person live coaching seminar type.
Just quick pause. Who's Alex Urban?
Alex Urban, really rad dude. He was I want to say he was the CMO of the Lions Not Sheep apparel company. He helped grow that business really, really well. And, you know, and he's kind of like a marketing genius. He knows business. Like the dude's a gangster.
Gotcha. So you're in his coaching group.
Correct. So I'm in his coaching group. I own another company called Frontline Coffee. So I joined his group. Oh yeah. Shout out Frontline Coffee. Wrong way. There we go. I joined Alex's coaching group because I wanted to learn more about how can I market my business online in the e-com space. So I've been in that group for a while. He does this in-person, I forget the word, mastermind. That's the word I'm looking for.
There it is.
It was like this in-person mastermind. He had all these guests come in, super good people. Like the value out of that experience was phenomenal. And so I'm in Utah. I'm staying with a close friend of mine. And, you know, it was the first night I was there and I'm talking with my buddy and, you know, we're just talking about life and business and all this other stuff. And at one point he stops and tells me that like, I feel like I've got a word and that word is, me, Greg, at some point is going to enter into a metaphorical killbox, which if no one knows what a killbox is, it's a military term, which is essentially a section on a grid map with a threat in it that you throw everything you can at it to eliminate the threat. If there's any Army guys out there that are hearing this and want to correct me, please correct me in the comments. But that is my basic understanding of what a killbox is. So back to the word. The word I got was you will enter into a killbox. Two versions of yourself. The man who you are, who you're not happy with, you're not proud of, that you feel like is failing. And the version of yourself that you feel like God is calling you to be, the man you've always wanted to be, the husband, the dad, right? And every day you start your day in that kill box, and you get to decide which version of yourself leaves the kill box. And having grown up in the church, and I mean, you were there from the
I was
early
there for
days,
a lot
right?
of it.
I was always the kid that pastors or leaders or whoever would come up and, this guy's got so much potential. If he would just get it, you know?
Yeah.
And I lived in the world of potential for years.
It's true.
And so I'm sure I've heard some version of a word like that throughout my life, but for some reason that night when he spoke that to me, like something broke in my brain. And maybe it was because I'd hit a new rock bottom coming out of a year that was one of the worst years of our lives. And now hearing this thing, maybe that was the moment that the Lord decided.
It's almost like your heart was good soil, and so the good seed landed in it, and it wasn't snatched away by the birds and the weeds and the you were just ready for it.
Something was planted in that.
Yeah.
And then it came the next decision. You know, I wake up the next morning and this thing is still fresh and resonating in my head. And that's actually when I went to the mastermind and heard a lot of really great things. And then I spent 2 more days there.
That's awesome.
And I just like baked in this
good timing.
Ideology. Oh, it was phenomenal timing. And I brought that home and then instantly was just like, you know, I feel like I need to put myself in a position of being uncomfortable and doing hard things to experience the growth I want to see. Because for years I had avoided challenges and hard, and I took the easy route because whether it was laziness or cowardice, even whatever it may be, my natural response was like, there's got to be an easier way. And what I've learned over the last few months is like, there's always an easier way, but that way always leads you to failure.
Yeah.
That will never get you to where you want to be. It'll never get me to be the man that I feel like I'm called to be.
Yeah.
So I've, over the last few months have operated within this mindset of rejecting easy, choosing hard, and doing things you don't want to do, because those are the things that typically lead to success, especially the success you're looking for. So the idea of Killbox came out of that. And what my heart was for Killbox was, it started as what we're doing right here, this podcast. I wanted to start a podcast that was having conversations with people who have in one way or another entered into a metaphorical Killbox themselves and have come out of that experience better.
Yeah.
And I wanted to explore people's experiences within that. Like, what were the things you went through? What did you see that worked? What did you see that didn't work? And then, rewind a little bit, it was maybe a month since I'd been on that trip. We had connected, and that's when you had asked if, there was or is there an opportunity for me to come here and work with you on some different projects? And my wife and I, as I'm sure every one of our friends know, for years had been trying to find our direction out of the state of Washington where we were living. And we just felt like it was a total God thing of like timing couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
Cause we had gone through this process and doing.
I had been reading your Instagram posts.
Yeah.
Is what led me to reach out. I could just tell something was different.
Right. It was, we were doing a lot of work just on ourselves personally, as well as in our marriage and how the way we parent our son.
Yeah.
And the last thing that we were holding on to, the last bit of control that we just decided to give up, was moving. And I remember the prayer that was just, Lord, the desire of our heart. We want to leave. But at the end of the day, your will be done. And if your will is for us to stay here, we're trusting that you're going to give us the understanding and joy and grace in that experience and explain to us why you want us to stay here.
That's good.
And it was 2 days later that we connected on the phone. And then it was 2 weeks after that, I was driving over here.
So it's like almost like the moment you surrendered it.
100%. 100%.
I've had that happen a few times.
Dude, it was wild. The moment you let it go, the door opens up.
Yeah.
And it was in a way we didn't expect. This area wasn't even on our list of places to go.
Yeah, it's not like you had this in the top of the funnel and you were nurturing it or something. I literally called out of the thin blue air.
Right.
And just was like, hey, I just been noticing your posts. Like, are you wanting to get out of Dodge? And I'd love to have you up.
Yeah. Well, I remember you even in that phone call, the one statement you made that stuck out to me was, I had you and another guy on a list of who I would want for this. Yeah. I was going to call him because I didn't think you would come out here.
Yeah,
And then
100%.
it was, is there any way you'd want to come out here?
Yeah.
And well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I mean, we said, well, let me take the weekend, talk to Allison. We're going to
Yeah.
pray about it. And I think we talked about it for a night, prayed about it together for a night, and woke up the next day and both of us were like, we're going, aren't we? Yeah, I think we're going.
Yeah.
And I
never did even call that guy because
Yeah.
you said yes in the first weekend. So
Mm-hmm.
no, that's cool.
It worked out. So that's the heart behind Killbox. That's the birthplace. That's where it came from. That's the intent.
So to synthesize it, just like, so the heart is a podcast.
Correct.
So so that's a piece of it, because you're trying to, is it fair to say, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're trying to grow the ethos around it. Like these are the ideas. Let's talk about the ideas. Let's learn from other people's testimonies. Let's get their wisdom, because like they say, there's only two teachers in life, wisdom and consequences.
Correct.
And so let's learn from wisdom instead of having to pay the price and the consequence. I like that. And then you also have like a physical program you're building. Like,
correct.
Do you want to talk about that today?
Yeah, I mean, we can bounce into it a little bit. I mean, the idea behind the program or group we want to build is, I mean, it's in its very infant stages right now. I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily say that part is even started. Like, we've got our group here.
We're in a pilot.
Pilot. We're in our pilot program. This is pilot episode of Killbox Group. But the idea is to find people that want to do the hard thing of facing the version of their self that needs to die, and then who's willing to put the work in. And we're I'm not an expert by any means, and this is
I don't know if there are that many experts, if I'm being honest.
I've yet to really meet one, but there's people who've experienced, like you said, there's two teachers, wisdom and consequence. I've spent a lot of time learning from consequence. Yeah. And so I like to think I have a little bit of an understanding on some areas, just because I can tell you what would happen if you did it the wrong way. Yeah. In an effort.
Well, there's certainly a bunch of people that haven't reached your stage yet in life, and they can all learn from anyone, but specifically you, because you're willing to share it.
Right.
In good faith. And you want people to take the lessons, and you want people to avoid the pain.
Right.
And to save the time, because you can't get it back.
Exactly. Time is the only thing in this world we can never make more of.
Yeah.
And so the group is about finding people that want to pursue that mindset and lifestyle, and doing whatever we can on our end to, help make that path clear, help give resources where we can. We're both entrepreneurs. We both, like making money and working hard, and especially now, I've always had a desire and a spirit to build something big, but that's where my mind has shifted from what's the easiest way to get to the end goal to versus what's the most effective way.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those things don't really go hand in hand.
Not always.
Every now and then you might get lucky and find something, but for the most part, like, success requires dedication, hard work, time, effort, blood, sweat, tears, all the cool, catchy words. And, so the group is like bringing those people together to pursue something great and to help each other, whether that's in business or parenting, marriage. Like, my heart really is for young guys who are just trying to figure out, like, they're transitioning into adulthood for the first time, and they don't know what that even looks like. And it took me a lot of years to really figure at least a part of that out. I was so stupid at 18 and, I can look at young guys and to, at least speak into some of that and say, hey, I could see what you're doing. I know where that path leads. Like, can I give you some of my experience and in hopes to, steer someone in a direction that's a little bit more beneficial or healthy. And so, I mean, that Killbox will eventually, there's a lot of elements to it the deeper we get into this, and the more it grows and we start to flesh out kind of what it looks like. And so I couldn't be more excited for it and what it's evolving into, and just what we've done with it already.
Yeah. Sweet. So, I guess for me, a couple of things that and we just do it live right here on the podcast. Like, I'm on several podcasts.
Right.
One of them is like topical. We bring in topics, talk about our life. The other one, thematic, is based on questions. Typically we'll get questions and we field those.
Right.
My favorite format is that format.
Yeah.
Because, but on thematic, I can't always say exactly what I think. I mean, I think Craig, my counterpart on that, would say, oh, you can, but the audience is a lot more sensitive. I find that there's two really sensitive groups of people, and in Killbox Spirit, I'm going to say it on this podcast.
Oh, I love it.
Far left, far right.
100%.
The further you are toward the end of the spectrum, the crazier you are, the more sensitive you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so the audience for Thematic is Christians, many of which are conservative, and many of which are pretty fragile in a lot of ways. And so you might want to talk about the nuance of Scripture or the nuance of living out Scripture. So like you would tell a story about me and you all the time, like you told at the beginning of this podcast. I would find chew tobacco. I gave you a hug at youth group. I was your youth pastor. You had
my
chew.
favorite one.
And what did I do?
Yeah, you asked me, is that Skull? And I said, no, I'm a Grizzly guy. And you go, back in the day, I was a Skull guy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was 14. And, I mean, not to cut you off, but I mean, just that alone is like that's where that trust was always built between us, right? Because I knew that, at least in my heart, like, I still had my teenage angst of like whatever life brought to me, but at least in that moment, I could tell like, oh, this guy doesn't judge me. He doesn't think I'm just some scrub full of potential like everyone else seems to think,
You were a scrub full of potential in a lot of ways, but you were a wonderful, wonderful student. Like, you're really cool kid. I always really liked you. But if I were to share that story on Thematic, that as a youth pastor, I didn't take away a drug meant for 18-year-old people from you, I would get lambasted in the comments. And I'm going to say it here on Killbox because I don't really care. I made a decision in those days where I would let students keep their vices in exchange for trust, unless it was like an overt, like a sin that really hurt other people.
Right.
Does chewing tobacco hurt you long term? Yeah, it does. It does. Like, the science is settled on that, so to speak. But I would rather have you at church with me than wherever else you could be. And if you pick to be there, I wanted to at least have an hour and a half to 2 hours with you so you could learn about who Jesus was.
Right.
And, it's interesting because one of the things I would love to do on this podcast is for you and I to talk really openly and honestly about all the hard stuff.
100%.
Because I think that's more compelling. I want to watch a show like that.
It's a good thing to bring up because there's a lot of podcasts I watch that you can tell, like, there's always like the line of like, oh, we don't go there. Oh, we're not going to cross this line. We can't talk about this subject because we don't want.
What if we had no lines?
We have no lines.
Oh my god.
That's the beautiful thing about Killbox. We're going to say anything and everything, whatever we feel like, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to get blasted in the comments, and then we're going to talk about those comments. Right?
I love it.
I want to have a piece of content that has no restriction on it.
Yeah. I love it.
Because I think that conversation has been so lost in the turmoil of what the state of humanity is right now.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of conversations that need to be had that aren't going to be had because people are too afraid to offend each other, whether that's far left, far right, Christian versus atheist, whatever it may be. Like, everyone's going to be sensitive to something. The reality is, though, like, you're only going to
you don't like it, turn it off.
I'm not forcing anyone to watch this.
I wish I could force people to watch it.
If I would, I'd have a Lamborghini already. I'd be using
keys
your
to the
views. Exactly. So
when we did Buddies Never Die, like, I started that when I was still like in ministry, and so we had to be really conscientious about the stuff that we talked about, which is kind of funny because so many of in fact, Byron's here, one of our Killbox, we call them Killbox boys. One of our Killbox boys is here, and cussing comes up a lot, so I'm actually trying to work on not cussing.
Oh, bro, I've got the filthiest mouth, and I'm trying really hard too. The fact that I haven't sworn once in the middle of this is a miracle almost.
One of the reasons is because Byron really cares about it. That's one of the reasons I'm working on it. I don't think universally it matters all that much, to be honest. Like, we actually let our children, one of which is 8 years old, we let them cuss if they want to cuss. And our purpose in that is because, we would tell the kids, don't tell the other like Christian families in Idaho we let you do this, because they're going to think you're demons. But what happened was my wife was at a Dutch Brothers with my daughters in the car, and Scarlett, my middle daughter, if you know her, she's like just fantastic kid. She's a firecracker. She's
dude,
really
she's hilarious.
She's hilarious.
I
Yeah.
love her to death.
And they saw this like special, and it was like a coffee and a donut and a whatever. It's this huge breakfast, And she was in the back of the car. She was like 7 years old, I think. And she goes, "Man, that's a whole ass breakfast." And Marie's like, "What did you just say?" And she goes, "I said that's a whole breakfast."
Yeah.
Like that. She tried to cover it. And Marie goes, I wasn't even in the car. So this was a kind of a unilateral decision my wife made, who, by the way, like never swears.
Oh,
ever. She's an angel. Yeah.
To grace
And
the
she
planet.
goes to Scarlett. She's like, "Do you and Juliet cuss when mom and dad aren't around?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then mom goes, "Well, we kind of cuss when you're not around. So let's just make a deal that we're going to be ourselves around each other." Like and for a while, it definitely increased the amount of cussing because the kids were like, practicing their little freedoms and stuff like that. But now it's just, like it'll happen once in a while, but it's mostly gone. But it's kind of interesting just because like on Buddies Never Die, we got to be really, really careful,
I remember
my goal in this podcast, I want to be myself. 100% who I am.
I want anyone who comes on this show to feel like they get to be the most authentic, true version of themselves without any pushback from us.
Yeah.
I am never going to push back on someone for being who they are and who they want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that freedom.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. I'm excited about that. I think I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, and I listened to him many years ago before he was considered like a far right terrorist or whatever he's considered now.
Yeah, dude.
And really the whole concept of his podcast is just interviews with cool and interesting people.
Yeah.
That's it. But for Joe, they get high and things like that right before the show. And I think in a way to just sort of ease the tension and be themselves, I think it's kind of interesting on the flip side of the coin for Christians. They have to almost give themselves permission to be normal and to be healthy and to be, like, I'm just not going to have the veneer on. And so, not that I think what we do on Thematic is bad. I think it's awesome. But here in this space, I just want to be me.
Yeah. Well, it's a different vibe, right?
It is.
I mean, Thematic, I've watched a few of the episodes, and it's a great show for the record.
It is a great show.
But the target and what that show is communicating is just it's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas here, I mean, it's kind of like a Joe Rogan-ish type show where, like, we're gonna have guests. I've got our first guest booked at the end of the month.
No shot.
Super rad dude. I've actually never met him in person. His name is Tyler, and he's coming to Idaho to run to do the Ironman race here. And so he's gonna come out, do the race.
Did he an Ironman race me?
Oh, bro, he is.
He would crush me.
Look,
I can barely run across the warehouse.
I sometimes have to show my wife pictures of him on Instagram and just say, like, "Are you picking him over me?" And they've never even met.
Yeah. Oh, I did a loud laugh for you, Byron. There it is.
Yeah. You got Byron to laugh?
No, he asked us to do a loud laugh at the beginning. I'm like, I never loud laugh, and then I just did.
And then you did it.
That's so funny.
Tyler's a gangster.
Yeah,
I've talked to him on the phone once. We've been DMing back and forth on Instagram, but
it seems like all the guests you have lined up are all muscle daddies.
They kind of are muscle daddies, and the reality is I'm on my muscle daddy journey. I'm still kind of a fat boy, and so my thought is I'm just going to force myself to be around all these really strong Greek gods of men.
Byron's like that.
Yeah, dude,
I wish we could show them on camera, but
all of these guys over here,
the comments would be filthy.
Bro, it would just be nothing but middle-aged ladies trying to swoop up.
Byron's a straight thirst trap.
He is a thirst trap. Well, so is Hudson. Hudson's here.
Oh, Hudson's still here? Yeah. Hudson's
here.
very handsome.
All of these boys are thirst traps.
Yeah.
Like I have to ask them to wear bigger shirts because their
shirts are super tiny.
It's not a fair,
weird thing.
Dude. I wear a 2X and I just feel like a fat boy, and you guys make me feel that way.
This is your fault.
This is your fault.
Yeah.
So Tyler's coming. He's gonna be dope.
Yep.
I got a few other people I'm talking to that are gonna be rad. And it's the same thing. Just come in here. I want to talk about what their lives. I want to talk about what they've gone through, their struggles, and share stories and laugh. And I don't know if someone wants to smoke a cigar. Smoke. Well, not in here. It's the I don't want to smoke in the warehouse.
I think you probably could.
We might smoke in the warehouse. Who knows? Make some.
We're the bosses of it.
Yeah, we kind of get to say what happens in the warehouse. So, yeah, I'm stoked.
That's awesome, dude.
It's going to be a good, fun run here, and I think there's going to be a lot of value that comes from it for a lot of people.
Well, besides kind of introing the concept, the show, and then what else do you want to accomplish today in this time together? Like we got a whole hour set aside to record.
Yeah.
What else do you want to do today?
I mean, if I'm being completely transparent, didn't get much further. Oh, you need to restart?
Yep, he has to restart it.
Okay, reset.
Here comes Byron, the thirst trap.
Freaking thirst trap, dude. It's not fair. It's just not fair. We're running everything a little hodgepodge, okay? Because I mean, we've got our camera set up. It's gonna look as cool and pro as possible, but like they're all on DSLRs. And if you're camera nerds, you understand the difficulty of that. If you're not, I'll explain to you in 30 seconds.
Perfect.
That DSLR cameras will only record up to 29 minutes and 59 seconds, or they automatically shut off.
Do you know why that is, by the way?
Yeah, it has something to do with the way
it's tax code.
Taxed film cameras versus photography cameras,
correct.
Basically. Yeah, they tax them different. And so if they film 30 minutes or more, they have to be classified as a video camera.
And it's taxed. Yeah, it's way more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Isn't that dumb?
So Byron is now making his rounds to our 3 cameras to start and stop the recording so that they don't just stop in the middle of the show.
Yep. Yeah. Perfect.
As far as anything else to talk about, I mean, my goal was intro. Let's just tell everyone who we are, what we're doing, the purpose behind it, the heart. So, I mean, did you have anything on your mind?
I have a question. I'd like to interview you. I have two easy questions.
Sure.
And
I might have 2 easy answers.
Yeah. You said you want to do hard things, and you actually classified this show as a hard thing for you. And you said beforehand you're nervous. Talk a little bit about that. And then we're 30 plus minutes in. How do you feel now?
Yeah. I'll do it in reverse. Right now, how I'm feeling, I'm still a little nervous. Yeah, Are
you honest to God nervous right now?
Yes. So here's what it is.
Why though,
bro? Because we're gonna get into it. Okay? Here's the thing. I just made my Sweet Boy Instagram post a couple minutes before we started. One of the things I'm working on personally, if I can be transparent with,
I want you to be. That's the point.
One of my insecurities, like I really care what people think of me. Right. And I felt that way for a long time, going into just being a kid, because growing up, our family didn't have a lot. My mom, bless her heart, was a single mom who raised 3 boys, and she did a great job, and she worked hard, and I watched her.
She did.
Looking back, man, my mom, she's a different breed of person, and so she deserves a lot of credit. But with that was kind of
your brothers are cool too.
Yeah, my brothers are rad also. I got 2 brothers, one 2 years younger, one 2 years older. And I mean, we fought a lot as kids, and now we're buds, and I love that. Love both my brothers to death. Growing up, I always felt like I didn't fit in, had something to prove. Like I've got to be someone that people will accept. Right. And, I mean, where that comes from, I'm sure we can dig into and try and explore for 4 hours. But, as of right now,
but you're really well liked. I mean, people really care about you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that if everybody knows like what you really think and what you really like, that'll go away?
There's an element of me that not so much now, I will say. Again, the last handful of months have been a pretty life-changing experience for me. But
I've literally watched you grow in 4 months. It's been awesome.
It's a wild transformation. So there's part of me that's still, my nervous and fear for doing what we're doing right now is this thought in the back of my head of like, you're going to say something stupid. So you're going to fumble your words. You're going to use poor grammar, whatever it may be. And there's people going to be watching going like, oh, look at the freaking idiot. Dude, there's my almost one swear word.
You snuck in there.
One. Sorry, Byron.
Sorry, Byron.
I care how I'm perceived. And I don't want to be perceived as an idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about, or like that cringy rah-rah boy who's just trying to be like a little hype kid.
Yeah.
And so nervous, yes, there's still a piece of me that's nervous. But again, going into this, like I was sitting in the chair where you are before we started, and I'm like having this little talk in my brain of like, there's part of me that's saying like there's always an excuse to get out of this. I could come up with any reason why we need to postpone. But there's the other part of me that's starting to outweigh that piece of my brain that's like, I chose this.
Yeah, that's good.
Like if I'm choosing this lifestyle, like I'm either a man of my word or I'm not.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time not being a man of my word, because when it came time to pony up, on your word, it would get hard. And I
Yeah.
just don't want to be that guy anymore. So
Yeah.
even though this honestly is kind of terrifying to me, I'm choosing to operate within it regardless.
Well, good for you.
So still a little nervous. It's obviously a lot better now that we've been going for 30 minutes basically, and I feel like I'm kind of comfortable.
You seem natural at it.
I'll take that. That's a win.
You can have it.
So even if I'm nervous, at least I can fake the confidence. That's a starting point.
That is a starting point. So second question is, who is a better youth pastor, me or Chris Allen?
Oh God, dude. Well, how do I weigh that out? It's such a challenge because your friendship is really birthed out of my creation.
It was. So I have a really, really good friend named Chris Allen, and it was the second youth pastor that Greg had after me. And Chris Allen's one. I would love to get Chris Allen on the show.
Dude, it'd be a dream come true. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but
he's and I'm saying this, Chris, I hope you watch this episode, worst communicator. Literally worst. I don't know if there's someone worse than Chris at texting. Maybe Austin.
Austin's pretty
Austin's
high up there.
Austin's bad.
Austin responded to a text today that I'm pretty sure I sent him like 2 or 3 nights ago, and then just now responded, and I had to read it for a second and say, what is he even saying? And then it clicked.
Oh, this is from 3 nights ago.
This is from 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Austin chooses to respond to me.
Austin is really, 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 really slow at responses, and it's like 1 out of 10. You'll text him 10 times to get one response.
Josh Jones, and I don't know if you ever met Chase, but Chase Merrill, I know you're going to watch this because you're a sweet boy who wants to support me because you've told me.
I've heard Chase is bad from other people.
Chase, I will argue, is by far the worst responder I've ever met in my entire life, whom I love dearly. I don't want you to think I'm...
Oh, Chris Allen, same. Like,
perfect.
I could text Chris, and like it'll be 5-6 texts in before I hear the first thing back, and it's all the same thing. Oh, sorry, so busy. I'm like, dude, we're all so busy. Yeah. I don't want to hear it.
Wrap it up.
It takes you 10 seconds. And I had this rule with Chris, and it didn't last very long. I'm like, just do a tap back on the just thumbs up that you saw is all I need.
Oh, see, that's where we're different because... So Chase, we're gonna bring Chase up.
Bring him in here.
Chase, I love.
Bring him in here. Anyone we talk about has a chance to fly out and be on the show. You can defend yourself. We're gonna talk about you when you're not here.
Chase, so majority of the time just doesn't respond. When he does respond, it seems like I would say half the time is just a reaction. And I'm like, don't you freaking heart my message, write words, you piece of garbage, and tell me something real.
Right.
Okay.
That's how you keep friendships going, especially when they're distant. You need the response. Yeah. How am I? I feel like I'm responsive, and you're phenomenally responsive.
Yeah, you're at least for me, very responsive. It's quite nice. I mean, majority of our texts these days are work related, so it's a little bit easier. But well, not even majority. I would say it's half the time.
Yeah.
Half the time it has nothing to do with work, and within but I also know that when you're busy, I don't expect an immediate response, but typically by the time you're done doing whatever you're doing,
I get
a response pretty quickly.
Good.
Same day. I would say
really try hard to do that, and I get thousands of texts. I mean, legitimately thousands of texts. At least 300 to 400 a day.
Yeah,
that's insane. I'm responding to.
Yeah, I don't want that in my life.
Yeah, I'm on the phone 10 to 11 hours a day, legitimately, according to my screen time. I'll have to share it to prove it.
Oh, I remember telling someone like, yeah, dude, Daniel was just on the phone, and they're like, there's no way someone can just be on the phone all the day. And you've screenshot
100%.
your call log and sent it to me, and then I show that to them and say that you don't think this is literally like 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
on the phone.
It's just every hour a new phone call.
And I've gone through 2 full iPhone batteries in a day often. So, but that being said, you never answered who's better, me or Chris, but we could get Chris on here.
I tried to scoot around it. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say you. Because I want to give Chris an opportunity to come fight for
Chris is a great youth pastor.
Acceptance.
I would say a couple things. I was so happy when I saw you go to Chris and Chris made you like his right-hand guy.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And Chris's youth ministry was a lot smaller, and he was able to really focus. And we suffered at our church from having a very large youth ministry.
Right.
So in some ways you suffer, from that. And it's like if people weren't in front of me or they weren't on my radar, I had difficulty managing the 600 kids going everywhere, and that was a common, the 2 most common points of feedback I got from parents was that I was fat and that they had problems with that.
Super card.
And then, true though,
Facts.
I've been working on it for years. I've lost 100 pounds 3 times.
Yeah. I've seen it.
So yeah, but again, so obviously you gain it back and lose it, and I'm on the losing journey again now, thanks to the kill box. The gym just got all here today.
Oh, I know, dude.
There won't be any excuse, literally zero excuse as soon as Byron and Hudson
look like Byron.
Dude, it would take you a long time to look like Byron. Byron started with skinny guy jeans, I feel like, and then figured out how to. It's like his body skin suit can't hold all of his muscles.
That's why he's transitioned to the shortest of shorts.
Yeah, he looks like a woman's nylon with bowling balls in it.
I love it, dude. We're
Just
gonna put a picture of Byron up right here.
Yeah, he's a
just
big
for a minute,
boy.
so everyone can experience Byron.
I used to think Hudson was just like yoked out of his mind.
Hudson is still yoked. He's getting a little fat. Hudson, let's be honest, dude. You say it more than I do. You're losing it. Okay?
Hudson eats until he throws up. Hudson, come here, buddy.
He does. How do you
come on here? Come here, show your face. Come sit next to Greg. You won't be able to talk, but
yeah.
Look at this alpha
this
male that
guy,
we've got to
dude.
deal with all the time.
An absolute champion.
You are a champion.
Look at these arms, dude. I'm so nervous, dude.
You look good, dude.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm getting fat.
I told you.
But listen, I do well with rebuke.
I do well with rebuke.
With rebuke, dude.
That's good for me.
That was good.
We're already making progress.
Yeah.
You still got blueberry on your lips.
What did you eat? Blueberry candy?
He
or something?
literally buys like a Costco bag of frozen blueberries and then comes in here and just hammers down on him and just gets blue mouth. Like his lips and tongue and everything is just tinted blue.
I asked
12
today,
hours.
I go, is Hudson okay? I asked Greg, and he's like, I think so. Why? I go, there's something going on. I walked by him, and I could tell in his face. And I walked back over, and I looked at him. I'm like, oh, he ate too much.
100%.
And then I sat down, and he came over 10 minutes later. I'm like, did you eat too much? He's like, yeah, puke. I've literally seen that kid eat too much almost 6 times. Can I tell a story, Hudson, about you at Geraldine's? So we have a charity for widows and orphans, and we serve widows, people, women who have lost their husbands, and Hudson's some of the muscle that we bring along when they need things moved and stuff like that. So I take Hudson out to his favorite noodle joint called, is it Who Hut or Who Hot? Who Hot. So dumb. I hate that name.
Stupid
Who
name.
Hot. And Hudson, he's kind of like unlimited, and he's pushing the boundaries of what's possible with the human body. But he will get a full plate or a full bowl and a second bowl each trip. And noodles are in one bowl, so he's got just a bowl of nudes, and then he's got meat basically in the other bowl, and it's like shrimp and chicken and beef and onions. I mean, all this. I can't remember. You don't like onions, do you, Huds? No, it's something else. Some celery. So they go make this thing, and his plate had to have weighed 3.5 pounds. 2 3/4 to 3.5 pounds.
It's not right.
That was one serving. He had almost eaten the entire thing by the time I sat down with my plate of noodles.
Dude?
So I'm like into the first 5 bites. He goes and he's like, dude, I gotta go back and get another one. Duplicate, copy, paste. We've got to be between 7 and 9 pounds of food. I'm not exaggerating. And he's also drinking full Dr. Peppers. And he's like 2 or 3 or 4 in, so there's like 16 ounce. So he's drank like 40 ounces of soda.
400 pounds
and
of
then
topped with soda.
Yeah. And then he's like, dude, Daniel, they've got the best dessert here. It's called the Cookie Dough Conquest. It's like it's like this huge cookie. It's only partially baked. It's covered in like ice cream and I mean, it's got to be 2,000 calories. And he and his brother ate the entire thing. So while we're, and I have not finished my initial plate yet.
Right.
And so another guy named JD was with us, and Asher was with us, which is Hudson's brother. We're getting ready to go, and he's like, dude, I got to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. So he goes to the bathroom. He's in there for a minute. We're like, you good? And he's like, I don't know. And he's so pale.
I don't know.
It's like how like your lips are pink a little bit?
Yeah.
All his skin is one color. And he's just like, he's doing this. And I'm like, bro, are you okay? He's like, I'm struggling, dude. I'm struggling. He had eaten so much food that when we would go over bumps in the car, he was legitimately moaning. He was like, oh, like that. I'm like, dude, we got to go straight from here to our thing. You got to carry stuff. So we walk in, we meet this sweet little widow lady, and she's kind of a chatty gal. So she's just chatting it up, you know? And Hudson's just like, he looks like death. He looks like death. And he's like, excuse me, I need to use your restroom. He goes in the restroom, and we hear him just unload into the toilet. Just, you know, the word, I mean, just like, she has to stop talking. She's like, is he okay? I'm like, I don't know. And it's like from Dumb and Dumber. It's just, it's so much like that. And then we hear the toilet flush and the sink go on, and then we hear the sink stop, and we hear vomiting into the sink. He went in the sink, not in the toilet, and he threw up in the sink, and then he took his hands and he smushed it down in the sink, and she's out. He's in there a good 10 minutes, and I'm waiting on him to get out, and I'm just talking to this gal, you know, I'm like, and he's just like,
dude, the smashing it down the sink.
That's
wild, bro. That's nuts.
Mint. Absolutely mint.
That is scoundrel
behavior.
behavior.
And she's like, are you okay? When he comes out, she's like, are you okay? He's like, I don't know. Oh, dude, it was awful.
Bro,
so we're talking about a young man who eats so much that will happen. Yeah.
That makes sense now.
Incredible.
Now, the tacos you guys made for lunch this afternoon were great.
Yeah, they were good.
Just how many did you eat? Did you eat too many? 4.
He
ate 4 tacos.
But did you see how big you made the tacos? Yeah.
I didn't. Were they oversized tacos? So
it was a
burritos.
9-inch burrito tortilla or whatever. He had 4 filled. They could barely fold clothes.
So you had like 8 tacos, realistically.
It'd be like
4
8 normal
very
human
large
tacos.
burritos. That is not a normal amount of food.
It isn't normal. And Asher Pack can out-eat him.
Yeah, I've heard that kid puts food. I've watched him actually when we went to the taco joint that one time. The 4 of us. And I watched Asher Pack hammer a burrito.
Yeah,
while all of us are like halfway there.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, and the fact that Hudson just keeps doing it when he knows he gets sick, it's incredible.
But we love him nonetheless.
Let's have Chris Allen on at some point. He's got to come up. He's in Boise now.
Chris, please just do it.
Just do it, Chris.
I don't know what else to. I don't know what you want from me.
We need to get one more mic so we have guests.
We've got a third mic, so I just don't. We've got the third setup. I just didn't put it up because.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense.
Use it.
Yeah,
but we are fully set up to take.
Hudson, would you be on the show sometimes?
Huddy will be on here. We'll get him.
Oh my gosh,
we'll get Hudson. We'll get Byron.
Get his perspective on things.
Oh, phenomenal! Absolutely phenomenal.
Some of the best content you can get.
I dream of that day. So we'll have Hudson. We'll get Chris up here. He'll come out. We got Tyler at the end of the month.
Don't you have a sniper friend?
I got a buddy that real fancy army boy. I don't want to give too many details because I'm really excited for that one, and I want it to be a surprise.
Fair.
We got him. I got some friends that are cops. I got a friend that's a firefighter. We got a lot of really rad people.
A lot of frontline alumni.
Yeah, I kind of just started milking my frontline list because they're dope
well
guys.
Said.
Yeah, I'm just gonna milk them. You know,
milking your front line.
Treat them like they're my little dairy cows and milk them.
Yeah,
milk them for the likes.
Milk's such a weird word when you isolate it. Milk.
For the record, is disgusting, and I don't know why people drink it.
Really?
Yeah, I find it repulsive.
Fan. Yeah, I can't drink like a glass of milk.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
People who were like, I'll just have a glass of milk, makes me feel like I want to know who hurt them because it's disgusting.
Yeah. I know a guy, he's not really in my life much anymore, but he would drink milk with ice in it.
That's not okay.
Right?
That's not
I'm trying to think if there's anything else like it that we do. Like, do we do like horchata, I guess. That's like rice.
Sort of. I can't get behind the horchata train either. But I've also got the palate of a 12-year-old, so most things that people find to be normal, I think, is gross.
Then the thing that I think is the gross is people who drink clamato juice.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Clam and tomato juice mixed.
Horrible. The people who make the clamato beers, where they dump it in like a
Gelatos.
Yeah.
Austin loves those.
No, that's broken. That's wrong.
Totally messed up.
Shouldn't be okay.
I like V8 juice.
Yeah, that's just
it's like tomato and carrot juice and celery juice. That's totally normal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, clamato just absolutely makes my tummy hurt.
Yeah, I can get behind that feeling. I don't eat seafood in general though, because I also find most seafood disgusting and repulsive.
Hudson loves seafood.
Oh, I know.
And it would make like my nervousness is that he would eat so much seafood that he would throw it up in my sink and have to push it down with his fingers because
I think that's a fair concern.
No thanks.
I feel like I need to watch him every time he goes to use a sink in the warehouse here.
Yep.
It scares me now. So, but we're gonna have cool guests on. We're gonna have a lot of rad people.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Any questions for me before we end? I had 2 really good bangers for you.
Was it? I'm trying to think of who was a better youth student, me or I got to find someone good to compare it to.
A better youth student.
A better youth student, me or Kyle Gover.
Oh man,
not better. Who was a more fun youth student?
Oh, you were more fun.
Come on, suck it, Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle was probably better as just a human.
He was better, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I set myself up for
failure.
Right
he was a great kid.
Yeah.
And he was always serving, and he is, I think he was a little scoundrel behind the scenes.
He probably was.
But yeah, more fun you, for sure.
For sure, man.
It's not that Kyle's unfun. It's just you were top tier in our youth ministry.
That's what I like to hear.
Fun side note about Greg, lots of the ladies liked Greg. He was a very, very sought after young man in the youth ministry and really super duper popular.
It was the skateboarding.
Yeah, I guess it must have been all your board moves.
It was all my sweet wheelie board tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I never could really do.
Yeah, but we would often find out that young ladies had a crush on Greg, and we're like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, they never told me that.
And I know. Well, it's not their job. It's your job to go to do that. But like one of our mutual friends, Joe Fisher, it would drive him insane because he would have a crush on a girl, and then that girl would have a crush on you, and he wouldn't have a chance. And
my favorite thing in the world was letting him know.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Sorry, Joe. It was a great try.
Yep. Good try, Joe.
Good try. I win.
We should have Joe on. He's a famous blogger now. Joe smells good.
Yeah, Joe smells good, dude. Shout out, Joe. If you want a real top tier
cologne
scent enthusiast.
He is a scent. He brought a whole, and I'm not teasing him out. It's like, I'm almost impressed. He brought an entire duffel bag, and it's like a standard size gym of fragrances.
Yes. Now, I'll finish your story.
No. That's full stop.
Okay. So
the last time he visited.
That happened last year. So for Austin, you're Daniel's brother, Austin. We've all been friends forever.
Yep.
So every year we all would get together here in Idaho to celebrate Austin's birthday over a weekend. And it was so much fun. So Joe, he's on this new, well, it's not really new now. He's been in it for a minute. So,
yeah, like 3 years.
But he's the fragrance king now.
Yeah, he almost slipped.
And I love it to death. Now, here, with that being said, he brought his duffel bag of smells for us. And my instant reaction in my head was, I want to make fun of Joe for this. And so then we're getting ready to go golfing. And he goes, hey, I brought scents that I think would work really good for each and every, like he spent time to pick a specific scent that he thinks would be a good fit for each person.
I kind of love it, dude. I'm not going to lie. I think it's really, really.
So instantly I'm thinking.
It's unique and clever.
I was at a crossroad because I'm like, that's actually really thoughtful. So he comes up and he's like, I got this for you, Greg. You're going to like it. Sprays it, does a thing. And I was frustrated because I instantly was like, I actually love this. And now
you've tainted this thing that I could have loved.
What I wanted to make fun of him for, I'm like later on texting him like, hey, what was that quote again? Trying to find it, and then now
that's what brings Joe so much joy is sharing things he likes.
Yeah.
In fact, if there could be a caricature come to life of the emotion of sharing things, that would be Joe. His entire body is made out of I like this thing and I want to share it with you.
Yeah, I want you to enjoy.
I want you to enjoy it too.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, that sounds cute. He's not cute and small. He's 6'4". He's like a Viking.
He's a big
this
boy.
Huge boy, you know, and he's always like making big old plates of stuff. I'm like, try this, and he'll hold it right here over you, like, just please try it. I'm like, dude, I'm not hungry. I have gum in my mouth. Doesn't matter. Spit it out. Have it. Try it.
I'm pretty sure he's never told me this, so I'm just speculating. But I think I would frustrate him with food because he would say, "Oh, this is amazing. You need to try it." And once again, palate of a 12-year-old. I don't want to try new things. Like I want chicken nuggets and barbecue sauce. And
that's tried and true.
I'm good. I don't want it. No, dude, you have to try it.
No, you have to. You have to try it.
I would refuse. Oh, my guacamole is the best. You got to try my guac. I don't like guacamole. You're going to like this guacamole.
But this is different.
We'll never know because I'm not going to try it, Joe. I love him so much. Joe is one of my closest friends. So I'm happy.
He's a great guy.
He is now our scent king, and I'm happy about that because now if I feel like I need something to smell good, like Joe, what is my pick?
Yeah, I'm excited to see him next and bring his duffel of smells, dude. His bag of smells, as you said.
His bag of smells, dude. I'm stoked for it. We'll get him on here too. He would be a fun one to chat.
He would be a fun person to chat with. Yeah.
So.
Well,
anyways.
I can't wait to talk about the real stuff with you, brother. It's gonna be fun, and all the fun people we'll talk to. It's like a mini. It's like our own little Joe Rogan studio. Yeah. I can't wait to see this improve over time too. I mean, we're just kind of like, I think you said we're what did you say? We're hip scotching it together.
Oh,
what term did you use?
What was the term I used?
Bog lashing. I don't even remember.
Yeah, this place is pretty bog lashed right now. So
hobgoblin,
hog snap,
hodgepodge.
I
legit couldn't remember what you said. You're like, it's kind of hodgepodge right now.
Kind of threw her together.
Yeah,
it's
gonna get better over time.
You know, we've got some different things that we still got to finish, but we started this about a month and a half ago, and then luckily business is good. So we've
business
been busy.
is good right now.
It's a good busy.
It's been better because the economy is in the crapper right now. So any ideas? Yeah. Okay, we're working our tails off. 3 times as hard to make the same amount of money, but we have a good team and we're working hard.
We're figuring it out and it's working.
You don't want anyone to get ideas. It's just coming easy because it's not.
Yeah, no, well, especially if we want to talk about doing hard things. Everything we're doing right now feels
it's
hard.
the hardest. I feel like it's the hardest version of everything.
Yeah, but it's been super fun.
This is going to be a really, really fun show. I'm going to look forward to making it. Are we going to do one a week?
I'd like to try and do one a week.
Well, let's not like to try. Let's do it.
We're going to do it once a week. Okay. As far as which day, I'm not sure yet. But
Fridays are typically good for me, unless I'm traveling, and then have a guest in on that day or remote me in.
The plan is, then we'll do that. As of right now, our plan is to record Fridays, produce it, get it all done through the weekend, and post Mondays. So we're gonna do, obviously, it's the social media game, long form, short form. We're gonna post our long form full episodes on YouTube. So make sure you follow that account, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
And then we've got an Instagram account, so we're going to post our shorts and clips and teasers.
Not pictures of our shorts, like short videos.
Well, if they're good pictures, we might post them. It's all kind of up in the air at this point.
Yeah.
Those photos specifically. We will post pictures of Byron.
And we're going to be streaming too.
Yeah.
Like, you and I need to determine a fun video game. So one of the things Greg and I both do on the weekends to relax is when he puts his son to bed, when my kids are in bed, we play video games. And so, Greg, a lot of people don't know this. Greg's kind of a successful streamer as far as
I wouldn't call myself successful by any means. Sometimes people watch it.
That's successful.
I mean, it's more than some people.
It is more than some people.
I'm technically an affiliate on Twitch.
Hey, so affiliate status.
All that means is I can have the pleasure of making money if it were to grow to that point.
Yeah.
So,
but I think we should stream. That would be fun too.
Oh, it'd be super fun.
Yeah.
So we'll do all kinds of stuff.
Rock and roll.
Just keep hammering out. So.
That's it.
Episode
1. You did it.
We did it.
And
I didn't cry one time.
You didn't cry once.
At least not on the
Looking forward to more adventures with you, bro.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be good.
I'm honored. Thank you guys. If you watched the whole thing, appreciate it. This is fun. Like we said 12 times now. More to come. Stay tuned. Appreciate it.